Imagine one of your friends getting hit head-on by a drunk driver and not surviving the crash. In 2010, the total alcohol-impaired driving fatalities was 47th, according to the Century Council Against Drunk Driving. A few years ago, my family's close friends lost 3 of their sons due to a drunk driver. Every day in the United States, 28 people die from drunk drivers. If people are warned about drunk driving, then maybe they will think twice about getting behind the wheel impaired. Today I will go over some statistics of drunk driving, emotional impacts of families that have lost loved ones due to drunk driving, and what drunk driving can cost you if you choose to do so, and ways to prevent yourself from driving drunk. First I will go over some stats of drunk driving to give you a better view of how many people and families are affected by drunk drivers. Mothers Against Drunk Driving, a website, lists stats about drinking and driving in America and for North Dakota. First, I will go over the stats in America. Over 1.4 million people in the United States were arrested for being under the influence of alcohol, and of those, a third of them have been arrested for the same charges. The ages between 21 and 25 are more likely to be behind the wheel while intoxicated at 23.4% of the time, and the ages of 18 to 20 are at 15.1%. And in 2010, there were 211 children killed due to intoxicated drivers. Out of 211, 130 were killed because they were riding with adults that were under the influence. Now for some stats close to home in North Dakota. Total fatalities in North Dakota in 2010 was 47, and of those, 4 were under 21. The last 10 years, the numbers of fatalities has gone up 20.9%, but on a better note, the fatalities under 21 has gone down 47%. There was close to 4,000 arrests in 2010 due to driving under the influence. And now that we know how many people drunk driving has affected, let's talk about who drunk driving affects. In an article written by Alan, he tells us the 11 people that are affected by drunk drivers. Passengers. Often when people drive drunk, they have others that ride with them. And if you were to get in an accident and one of your peers did not survive the crash, you would have to live with that for the rest of your life. Taxpayers, because most accidents that happen in public property do not get reported, and then we have to pay for the damage made. The insurance market, if you were to get pulled over for driving under the influence, then your insurance rates will more likely skyrocket. Your significant other, when your spouse finds out that you were drinking and driving, they will more likely leave you because you put them at risk of embarrassment. Your friends, the negativity that comes with drinking or drunk driving could have a negative impact on your friends as well. Some friends may not want to associate with a drunk driver and fear being associated with them. We have now seen who this affects. Now we'll go over some costs of drinking and driving for those to do, if you choose to do so. In North Dakota, there's a $250 fine the first time you do it. You get your license suspended for 108 days. You can get a work permit after 30 days, but you can also not if the judge chooses not to give that to you. You also have to go to a mandatory alcohol evaluation. Your second drunk driving conviction is 5 days or 30 days of community service. You get $500 fine. 365 days your license is suspended. You get no work permit, and you have to go to mandatory alcohol evaluation. Your third conviction is 60 days, minimum of $1,000 fine. Your license is suspended for 2 years, and you also have to go to mandatory alcohol evaluation. As you can see, it isn't worth it. Now let's go over what we can do to prevent us from getting behind the wheel impaired. Follow these suggestions from Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Your best defense against a drunk driver is to wear your safety belt. Make sure any children in the car are in their child safety seats. Never ride in a car operated by someone who has been drinking. Call a cab or ask a friend to drive you home. Report drunk drivers to law enforcement from your car or payphone. Keep a safe distance from anyone driving erratically. Be responsible and don't risk it. You'll be caught. And if you plan to drink, choose a designated driver before you go out. Take mass transit like a taxi cab, or you can ask a sober friend to drive you home. Spend the night where the activity is held, but always buckle up. It's your best defense against an impaired driver. Every day in the United States, 28 people die from drunk drivers. If people are warned about drunk driving, then maybe they will think twice about getting behind the wheel. And today we learned some stats about drunk drivers. Then we learned who is affected by drunk drivers. Then we went over some costs if one chooses to get behind the wheel. Then we went over some ways to prevent us from drinking, and we went over some ways to protect us against drunk drivers. By helping others, we can help the number of fatalities of drunk drivers decline.